In recent years, a shocking trend has emerged, people going to extreme lengths to change not just their looks, but their very racial identity through plastic surgery. What may have started as a bold attempt to reinvent themselves often ended in heartbreak, controversy, and deep regret. In this video, we dive into the unbelievable stories of those who altered their race in pursuit of acceptance, fame, or a new identity, only to face emotional turmoil and public backlash. From dramatic before and after transformations to raw personal confessions, these journeys reveal painful truths and powerful lessons that go far beyond the surface. Stay with us as we uncover the price they paid for chasing an identity that wasn't theirs to claim. Zhou Chuna's journey is a haunting reflection of what happens when the quest for beauty turns into a quiet erasure of self. Once celebrated across China for her radiant charm, bright eyes, soft features, and flawless skin, Zhou quickly rose to fame as a young influencer adored by thousands. But behind the curated posts and glowing praise was a growing storm of insecurity. As beauty standards tightened and the Western aesthetic crept deeper into global consciousness, Zhou began to believe that her natural face was no longer enough. The mirror became her harshest critic. One by one, she underwent a series of cosmetic surgeries, double eyelid procedures to make her eyes appear larger, rhinoplasty to slim her nose, jaw contouring to sharpen her face. At first, it felt empowering. She posted the before and after pictures with pride, calling it her transformation. And for a while, the compliments poured in. But as the swelling faded, so did the sense of joy. What she saw in the mirror felt foreign. The girl looking back wasn't her. Instead of feeling beautiful, she felt empty. As if she had traded her authenticity for applause, only to find silence when the applause stopped. For many older generations, Zhou's story is a painful echo of a timeless truth. When we reshape ourselves to fit someone else's ideal, we often lose the very essence that made us special in the first place. In a world obsessed with image, even the most admired can fall into the trap of believing they must change to be worthy. But Zhou eventually understood, her natural beauty was never the issue. The real problem was the lie that she had to become someone else to be loved. Her story is not just a cautionary tale, it's a wake-up call. A reminder that real beauty doesn't begin with a scalpel or a filter. It begins with self-acceptance. Zhou Chuna shows us that the most powerful transformation is not the one seen in the mirror, but the one that starts within. Juju Oliveira was once the face of effortless beauty, graceful, natural, and adored across Brazil for a charm that didn't need enhancement. But what began as a harmless journey towards self-improvement slowly spiraled into a dangerous obsession. And in the end, it cost her far more than she ever imagined. Her story asks a chilling question. How far would you go to become your perfect self? And what if the price is your identity? In the early days, Juju was admired not just for her looks, but for her honesty. While many public figures concealed their cosmetic work, she shared hers openly, every filler, every tweak, using her platform to promote self-expression and empower others to take control of their image. For a time, she was a symbol of fearless transformation. But admiration turned to concern as Juju's procedures became more extreme. It started with her lips, then moved to her cheeks, chin, and jawline. With every injection, she drifted further from the radiant young woman the world once knew. Fans watched in disbelief as the once glowing model became a haunting reflection of what happens when self-love is replaced with self-erasure. The damage wasn't just skin deep. Juju developed severe infections and chronic medical complications. Her face became swollen, inflamed, and visibly scarred, painful reminders of choices she couldn't undo. What she hoped would bring her confidence only left her battling shame, illness, and regret. To older generations who've seen beauty trends rise and fall, Juju's journey feels tragically familiar, a cautionary tale of how chasing perfection can quietly become a prison. Cosmetic procedures may offer enhancements, but when driven by insecurity, they can strip away far more than appearance. They can steal your peace, your identity, and your worth. Juju Oliveira's story is not just about plastic surgery gone wrong, it's a powerful reflection of the darker side of beauty culture. A world where the standards never stop shifting, and where being enough always feels one procedure away. But the real lesson isn't about beauty. It's about self-acceptance. Because sometimes, the most radical thing you can do in a world obsessed with transformation is to love the person you already are. Alicia Amira isn't just a Swedish model or entrepreneur. She's a walking rebellion against society's narrow definitions of beauty. In a world that often demands women fit into tidy boxes of modesty and convention, Alicia tore up the script. Through a series of dramatic cosmetic surgeries, she sculpted herself into a living doll, curves, lips, and lashes dialed all the way up. But what some dismiss as artificial is, for her, something deeply real. Alicia's transformation isn't just about appearance, it's about power. Her hyper-feminine look, often met with shock or criticism, is a bold declaration. I choose how I'm seen. She doesn't shy away from the label bimbo. She wears it like armor. To her, it's not an insult, it's a revolution. A way to reclaim ultra-feminine aesthetics and remind the world that beauty can be fierce, provocative, and unapologetically self-defined. For some, especially older generations raised to believe that subtlety equates to virtue, Alicia's image may feel extreme. But beneath the pink and glitter is a familiar truth. It takes guts to be yourself in a world built to shame you. She didn't stop at her own journey. Alicia founded the Bimbo Academy, a supportive space for women who want to explore bold, exaggerated femininity without fear or judgment. It's not about vanity, it's about self-expression, confidence, and challenging a culture that polices how femininity should look. Here, women are encouraged to be loud, proud, and defiantly themselves. Naturally, not everyone agrees. Some praise her as a fearless pioneer, others accuse her of promoting impossible standards. But love her or hate her, Alicia has forced an important conversation about autonomy, self-worth, and the right to design your own identity. Alicia Amira's story is more than a tale of surgeries and stilettos. It's about courage, the courage to confront tradition, rewrite the rules, and own your image without apology. For anyone who's ever been told to tone it down or fit in, Alicia's journey is both a challenge and an inspiration. Because sometimes, being true to yourself means being too much for the world, and doing it anyway. Martina Big's transformation didn't just shock the internet. It sent a jolt through the heart of a nation still grappling with race, identity, and the meaning of cultural respect. Once a white model from Germany, Martina made headlines when she used extreme tanning injections and plastic surgery to dramatically darken her skin, reshape her features, and publicly declare herself a black woman. But this wasn't just about physical change. Martina didn't just alter her appearance, she renounced her white identity entirely. She traveled to Kenya, took part in a tribal ceremony she claimed blessed her transformation, and proudly proclaimed herself a true member of the black community. For many, especially African Americans who have lived through generations of systemic racism and cultural erasure, this felt like more than just cultural appropriation, it felt like mockery. To them, being black isn't a look you can buy or a label you can claim. It's a lived experience, forged in pain, resilience, pride, and a shared history that cannot be replicated in a doctor's office. Martina's journey raised a storm of outrage. Critics accused her of treating blackness like a costume, something to be tried on for shock value, not something truly understood. Her claim that she hopes her future children will inherit her surgically altered features only added fuel to the fire, drawing disbelief, anger, and condemnation from communities across the globe. And yet, despite the backlash, Martina has remained defiant. She says her transformation stems from genuine admiration for African beauty and culture. She insists she feels empowered, not exploitative. But for those who marched in the civil rights movement, who fought for the right to be seen, heard, and respected, not imitated, Martina's story strikes a nerve. It raises painful, complex questions. Can identity be self-declared like a fashion trend? Or are some parts of who we are, like race, too sacred, too tied to centuries of struggle and triumph, to be rewritten on a whim? In the end, Martina's controversial transformation doesn't just test the boundaries of self-expression. It forces us to ask, when does admiration cross the line into appropriation? And what does it truly mean to honor another culture, versus merely performing it? Vanilla. What could drive someone to erase every trace of who they once were, just to become a fantasy? For Japanese model Vanilla Chamu, it wasn't just a makeover. It was a haunting odyssey into obsession, loneliness, and the price of perfection. Her dream? To transform herself into a real-life porcelain doll. But this wasn't a story of simple beauty enhancement. This was about chasing a ghost, an ideal that never truly existed. Vanilla didn't just tweak her features. She waged war on her own reflection. Over the course of years, she endured more than 30 surgeries, double eyelid procedures to make her eyes look wider, chin implants to reshape her jaw, skin lightening treatments to erase her natural complexion. Piece by piece, she dismantled her original identity in a relentless quest to become something delicate, doll-like, and entirely artificial. By the time her transformation reached its peak, she had spent over $12,000. What looked back at her in the mirror was no longer recognizable. With her pale, porcelain skin, cartoonishly large eyes, and a face sculpted like a figurine, she captured the world's attention. Some were mesmerized, others recoiled. Many couldn't help but wonder, had she crossed a line? Had the human being vanished beneath the layers of surgery and illusion? For older American audiences, those who came of age before the age of filters and face apps, Vanilla's story cuts deep. It's a stark reminder of how far society has shifted from celebrating uniqueness to worshiping unattainable ideals. Beneath the flawless makeup and surgical precision lies a tragic irony. The image Vanilla chased was a fantasy born from distorted beauty standards and internalized pain. In trying to become perfect, she lost something far more precious than looks. She lost herself. Her story made headlines. But the deeper message lingers like a whisper, one that speaks to anyone who's ever felt not enough. When we place our worth in illusions, we don't just risk our appearance. We risk erasing everything real, everything human. Pete Burns wasn't just the flamboyant frontman of Dead or Alive. He was a living, breathing work of art. While the world first met him through the electrifying pulse of You Spin Me Round, it was his ever-evolving appearance that left just as deep an impression. For those who came of age during the wild rise of 1980s pop and the golden era of MTV, Pete wasn't merely shocking, he was revolutionary. His look wasn't for show, it was a rebellion. A defiant refusal to conform to society's narrow definitions of beauty and identity. What started with a simple nose job soon became a relentless pursuit of transformation. Lip fillers, cheek implants, and nearly 300 cosmetic procedures followed, each one a bold brushstroke on the canvas of his body. He poured millions into crafting an appearance that matched the intensity of his inner world, sculpting a face that was just as avant-garde as his spirit. To Pete, surgery wasn't about vanity. It was about freedom, expression. But the cost went far beyond money. Pete endured excruciating pain, life-threatening infections, and endless rounds of reconstruction. Doctors warned him, friends worried, but he pressed on, undeterred. Because for Pete, changing his face was never about chasing perfection. It was about becoming who he truly was, piece by piece. To some, Pete's metamorphosis is a tale of fearless self-expression. To others, it's a sobering reflection of obsession and emotional toll. His journey invites admiration and unease. Because while he shattered expectations and became a beacon of radical individuality, his story also raises a haunting question. How far is too far? Pete Burns passed away in 2016 from natural causes. But his legacy lingers in more than just music videos and magazine covers. He remains an icon of unapologetic transformation, a man who dared to rewrite the rules of identity with every surgical scar. His life, at once dazzling and heartbreaking, reminds us that the pursuit of authenticity can come at a steep price, and leaves us all asking, what does it truly mean to become yourself, if it means losing everything else along the way? Regine Aranizinga's story is a haunting tale of hope, betrayal, and unimaginable resilience, a cautionary journey through the dark side of desperation. As a transgender woman yearning to see her outer appearance match the woman she knew she was inside, Raji faced the same uphill battle so many in her shoes do. Emotional vulnerability, limited finances, and the urgent hunger to feel whole. That vulnerable mix led her into the hands of O'Neill Ron Morris, a con artist posing as a doctor who preyed on those desperate for transformation but unable to afford licensed care. Raji sought subtle facial enhancements. What she got instead was horror. Morris injected her with a toxic cocktail of cement, mineral oil, and even tire sealant. Everyday household materials turned into a medical nightmare. Her face swelled, warped, and became disfigured beyond recognition. What began as a journey towards self-love became a descent into physical agony and emotional devastation. But Raji didn't disappear. She didn't hide in shame. With remarkable bravery, she stepped into the public eye, appearing on national television and laying bare her pain, not for sympathy, but to protect others. Her courage helped expose Morris, who was later arrested and charged for practicing medicine without a license. To older generations who may remember a time when plastic surgery was rare, expensive, and tightly regulated, Raji's story is a chilling reminder of how far people will go when they feel they have no safe options. It's a plea to prioritize safety over shortcuts and to always question the qualifications of those entrusted with our bodies. Though Raji still bears the physical scars of her ordeal, she's transformed her suffering into strength. Today, she stands as a fierce advocate, raising awareness about safe medical practices and empowering the transgender community to demand care that respects both their identity and their health. Her journey is not just one of tragedy. It's a powerful testament to human resilience, a story of survival that teaches us all, real beauty starts with dignity, safety, and the courage to speak up, even when it hurts. Mickey Rourke was once the epitome of Hollywood allure, a brooding heartthrob whose raw magnetism lit up the screen. In the 1980s, he didn't just act, he smoldered. With unforgettable performances in 9.5 Weeks and Angel Heart, Rourke became the embodiment of dangerous charm and tortured beauty. Audiences were spellbound, and critics whispered that he was the next Brando. But just as his star was reaching its zenith, Mickey made a shocking choice. He walked away from Hollywood and stepped into the boxing ring. Behind that decision was a storm of personal pain, demons he couldn't shake, and a desperate search for peace. For a time, the ring offered him clarity. But it also came with a brutal price. Blows to the face shattered bones, and with them, the face that once captivated millions. To repair the damage, Mickey turned to plastic surgery. But the outcome was far from healing. In later interviews, he confessed with heartbreaking honesty, "I went to the wrong guy to put my face back together." Multiple surgeries followed, nose reconstructions, cheek implants, facelifts, all in a desperate bid to reclaim what was lost. Instead, the procedures left him looking swollen, uneven, almost unrecognizable. The man who had once defined rugged masculinity now faced whispers and stares. For those who remembered his golden days, the transformation was nothing short of tragic. Hollywood, once enchanted by his presence, began to pass him over. Leading roles vanished. He was cast in darker parts, villains, outcasts, broken men. And perhaps that was fitting, because the world no longer saw the matinee idol. It saw the scars. But Mickey Rourke is nothing if not a fighter. In 2008, he roared back with The Wrestler, a haunting portrayal that mirrored his own journey. The performance earned him a Golden Globe and an Oscar nomination, proof that beneath the surgeries and the sorrow, his talent had never left. He had simply been waiting to be seen again. Mickey's story is more than a tale of faded beauty. It's a testament to survival, to falling hard and standing back up. A reminder that beneath the surface, no matter how altered, strength, grit, and soul can still shine through. Because in the end, beauty may fade. But resilience? That never goes out of style. Heidi Montag was once known as the bubbly blonde from Laguna Beach and the Hills, but her name soon became a headline for something far more sobering. A transformation so extreme it stunned even the most jaded Hollywood insiders. At just 23 years old, Heidi made a decision that would change her life forever. It wasn't for a role or a red carpet. It was for the illusion of perfection. Offered a deal that many would find irresistible, tens of thousands of dollars in free cosmetic procedures, Heidi said yes. In one single day, she went under the knife not once, but 10 times. From a chin reduction to breast augmentation, From a subtle eyebrow lift to aggressive liposuction, Heidi allowed her body to be reshaped in ways most couldn't imagine. One procedure alone lasted 16 hours. And afterward, she was left swollen, stitched, and heavily medicated with opioids that made her feel more like a stranger to herself than ever before. What was supposed to be a glow-up turned into a haunting reminder: chasing an image can come at the cost of your identity. To older viewers who've watched beauty ideals morph through the decades, Heidi's story hits hard. It's a painful reflection of the impossible standards younger generations now face, magnified by cameras, filters, and endless comparisons. She once remarked quietly, "I got a slight eyebrow lift. It's permanent." But behind that sentence was a deeper truth. Some choices leave scars far beneath the skin. With time, Heidi's perspective changed. Regret set in, not just for the surgeries, but for the mindset that led her there. Now, she speaks out not as a cautionary tale, but as a voice of experience. She urges young women to pause, to talk to someone they trust, to ask themselves, is this change for me or for them? Because what the mirror reflects isn't always what's real. Behind every edited selfie and sculpted figure lies a journey most people never see. And while a surgeon's blade might promise a quick fix, the healing, especially the emotional kind, takes much longer. Heidi's message today is simple but powerful. Confidence isn't something you can buy or build in a doctor's office. It has to come from within. Lil' Kim didn't just break into hip-hop. She kicked the door down in heels and a mink coat, redefining what power, femininity, and raw confidence could look like in a male-dominated industry. Rising to stardom in the 1990s, she wasn't just a rapper, she was a revolution. Fearless in her lyrics, unapologetically provocative in her fashion, and larger than life in her presence, Lil' Kim shattered stereotypes, especially for Black women in rap, simply by owning every inch of who she was. But behind the fierce persona and groundbreaking success, another story quietly unfolded. A story written not in verses, but in surgeries, scars, and silent battles with self-image. Over the years, fans watched as Lil' Kim's appearance changed dramatically. Multiple nose surgeries, breast implants, liposuction, and widely debated skin lightening treatments. For those who fell in love with the bold, brown-skinned Brooklyn girl from her early days, the transformation was hard to ignore. Some saw her changes as brave acts of self-expression. Others saw them as signs of a deeper wound, an internal war against impossible beauty standards and the invisible chains of colorism. In a rare moment of vulnerability, Kim once whispered, "You don't understand. You don't see." And in those few words, she said everything. The pain, the pressure, the yearning to be accepted in a world that often equates lighter skin with worth. Her decision to lighten her skin ignited a storm of criticism and sparked uncomfortable but necessary conversations about race, identity, and what it really means to feel beautiful as a woman of color in America. For many, Kim's journey reflects not vanity, but survival. A way of molding herself into something the world might find easier to love. While critics accuse her of reinforcing unrealistic standards, others see her as a symbol of resilience, someone who dared to rewrite her story in an industry that rarely gives women, especially Black women, that freedom. To older generations who've seen trends come and go, Lil' Kim's evolution is not just about physical change. It's about the emotional toll of fame, the cost of visibility, and the constant push and pull between self-love and self-preservation. Agree with her choices or not, one truth remains. Lil' Kim is still here, unapologetic, unbreakable, and still a cultural force who refuses to be silenced. Tara Reid was once the very picture of Hollywood's golden girl, radiant, likable, and effortlessly captivating. With breakout roles in American Pie and Van Wilder, she wasn't just famous, she was beloved. Her natural beauty and girl-next-door charm made her a fixture on red carpets and magazine covers at the height of the late 90s. But behind the dazzling smile and paparazzi flashes was a young woman quietly battling the brutal pressures of fame and the punishing expectations of perfection in Tinseltown. In the early 2000s, as whispers about her appearance grew louder, Tara made a decision she thought would give her more confidence: liposuction. But instead of refinement, The procedure left her with rippled skin, uneven contours, and deep emotional scars. What was meant to be a private struggle quickly became public humiliation. The media descended like vultures, splashing cruel headlines and close-up photos across tabloids. Her once unshakable confidence began to crack beneath the weight of ridicule. Hoping to reclaim control, she underwent breast augmentation, but again, the results only brought more criticism. The implants, disproportionate to her petite frame, became a fixation for gossip columns. Tara Reid wasn't seen as a talented actress anymore. She became a walking punchline for botched surgery. Casting calls slowed, then stopped. The big studios stopped calling. She found herself in low-budget films, many forgotten as soon as they were released. But Tara's story isn't just about plastic surgery gone wrong. It's about the crushing cost of a culture that demands women be flawless, then shames them for trying to meet the impossible standard. It's about how quickly Hollywood can turn its back, and how harshly it punishes vulnerability. Yet through it all, Tara never completely disappeared. She kept going, kept showing up, and slowly started reclaiming her narrative. Her path hasn't been easy, but it's been real. Today, she continues to work, to speak out, and to live life unapologetically, on her terms. Tara Reid's journey is a sobering reminder that beauty fades, but resilience endures. In an industry obsessed with the surface, her story dares to ask a deeper question. What if our worth was never about appearance to begin with? Mary Sebastian Pickles Magdalene. Yes, Magdalene is her real name, and in the world of extreme body modification, few names stir more fascination, controversy, or awe. She isn't chasing Hollywood's standard of beauty. No, Mary is reaching for something far more surreal, something that blurs the line between the living and the lifelike. With her porcelain doll features, hollow eyes, unnaturally tiny mouth, and an almost ghostly expression, Mary looks like she stepped out of a dream or a nightmare. Her transformation is both mesmerizing and deeply unsettling. Over the years, Mary has undergone a staggering number of surgeries: multiple breast augmentations, dramatic lip fillers, nose reshaping, and more. But it was her high-risk eye surgery, meant to make her gaze resemble that of a doll, that left even veteran plastic surgeons speechless. The result? Haunting, controversial, unforgettable. But it's not just her appearance that sets her apart. It's her relentless pursuit of transformation. Even after dozens of procedures, she remains unsatisfied, constantly searching for new ways to reshape herself, chasing a vision of hyperfemininity that exists somewhere between fantasy and reality. With every operation, Mary drifts further from the person she once was, and closer to a version of herself that feels both entirely alien and fiercely her own. Online reactions are sharply divided. Some hail her as a fearless icon of radical self-expression, a woman rewriting the rules of beauty on her own terms. Others watch with concern, questioning the physical and emotional toll of her journey. Critics argue she's a symbol of obsession, of a culture that's turned self-image into a battlefield. But Mary? She's unapologetic. In her eyes, every surgery brings her one step closer to her true self. For older generations who've watched beauty standards shift, from natural grace to sculpted perfection, Mary's story is more than just shocking. It's thought-provoking. Where do we draw the line between empowerment and erasure? Between self-expression and self-destruction? Love her or fear her, Mary Sebastian Pickles Magdalene forces us to ask, what does beauty really mean? And how far are we willing to go to achieve it? Thanks for watching Exposed Hollywood. If this story made you think, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We've got more unforgettable tales coming your way. See you in the next video.